James Kaufman, World News Report today. Ladies and gentlemen, currently we have what looks like an uptick in earthquake activity. I say that because I see this earthquake in New Jersey and two in the New Madrid in the west coast of the U.S. and Alaska is swarming pretty heavily. With that said, those aren't our two big problems. We've had a 6.4 magnitude earthquake in the Bandera Sea here at 143.6 kilometers. Now, there's been more than one earthquake in this area. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Jumping over to Turkey, we have a 6.0 at 8 kilometers. It looks like it came in much stronger than they're actually telling us. We've got an 8 on the DYFI, must be a populated area, an 8 on the shake map with a yellow pager. No tsunami warnings associated with either. Now, this big 6.0 is in a what looks like volcanic area here and adjacent to the Aegean Sea. We've been seeing swarming. We get to earthquakes and volcanoes.com. We'll see what this area really looks like. We usually see earthquakes in Turkey off this pinch right here where the plate tectonic boundaries are pinched together. I don't see any easy explanation for this 6.0. Let's take a look at the 6.4. Obviously, we're very familiar with Indonesia and Papua New Guinea and all of the volcanic ranges in this area. This came in at a 6.4 magnitude. Only a 3 on the DYFI, must have been in the water somewhere. A 4 on the shake map, and 143.6 kilometers in depth. Now this is where we have two plate tectonic boundaries that don't meet. They will meet one day soon, but they don't meet currently. So that is a telltale of why there's so much pressure in that area. There's also lots of volcanoes in this area that we'll shortly see. Alright, starting over here with a 6.0, we can see all the aftershocks here. So many that really we can't even see them here. Get in a little bit closer so we can see exactly what's going on here. Now that is a lot of aftershocks, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to be able to count those. Get some detailed information. USGS main source. And it looks like they came in at 6.08 kilometers of depth. The shallow depths here would make you think that this was magma related pushing up to the surface here. I did want to say that it looks like the Greeks have come in with a 5.8 and a 6.0 as well. And it looks like one of them's at 10.5 kilometers, the other one's at 10 kilometers. We're going to get some detailed information about this 6.0, but before we do that, let's take a look at the 6.4 magnitude earthquake, and let's see if there's anything going on in the Aegean Sea. Right, it looks like we've got a fairly active situation around the Aegean Sea, and we have Santorini volcano awakening. So none of this is great news. Let's take a look at the larger quake. A couple of decent sized quakes here on the Russian peninsula with 7 volcanoes erupting. We have another 5.5 here in Indonesia, the Philippines. Another 5.1 here in Indonesia. 6.4 in the Bandera Sea. In between Indonesia and Australia, and over in Papua New Guinea, we've got a 5.0. Lots of volcanoes going off in these areas, lots of magma movement under these areas, and we have nothing but plate tectonic boundary problems in all these areas. And we'll zoom in and take a look at how complicated this plate tectonic situation really is. Now remember, red formed plate tectonic boundary, blue forming plate tectonic boundary, and black are areas that they think that plates will form in the near-term future. By near-term, they could mean thousands or tens of thousands of years. This is on a volcanic range, as you can see it wrap around here. Very easy to see. So there's nothing strange about any of this. The erupting volcanoes are quite a bit away from this, but you can see that these are all active volcanoes all the way around that volcanic ridge that does a circle. So all that is another volcano activating. And that was a 6-4. The Indonesian government, your main source here, they came in at 6-4 at 168 kilometers. The French came in at 6-1 at 140 kilometers. You can bet they did. Raspberry Shake came in at 6.6 with 136 kilometers. Let's get some detailed information on both those and move on. 6.0, very strong Turkey. Taking a look at the shake map, we can see how populated this area was and where the reports came from. Obviously, that's why it looks so much worse on the shake map of the DYFI. All right, remember this is a 6.0 over Turkey. Came in at 6.0, main source USGS. It dropped just under 1 atomic bomb worth of energy. I regularly don't cover 6.0s and only cover 6.1s or stronger, but we made an exception in this case because of the DYFI and, well, the shake map index. A little bit better view of all the reports of the individuals that felt the quake. Comparing earthquake data from different agencies, USGS came in at 6.08 kilometers of depth. Here we have Greece, Aristotle University coming in at a 5.86, 10.5 kilometers of depth. And we have the National Observatory of Athens, NOAA, coming in at 6.0, 10 kilometers of depth. We have the University of Athens coming in at 6.2, 11 kilometers of depth. Greece is really getting involved with calling out earthquake magnitudes around the globe lately. Next, we have Raspberry Shake coming in at 5.9, 10 kilometers of depth. The Germans coming in at 6.0, 10 kilometers default depth, asterisk default depth, default depth. We have the Seismological Survey of Siberia coming in at a 5.9, 10 kilometers of depth. The French coming in at a 5.43, 10 kilometers of depth. We have the Italians coming in at 6.0, 9.2 kilometers of depth. We have the Disaster and Emergency Management Authority coming in at 6.1. I believe that's part of the Turkey Disaster Relief Management Program. Now, next, well, what do we have? Istanbul, Turkey. Istanbul's seismic center came in at 6.0, 10.3 kilometers of depth. The Europeans came in at 6.0 at 6 kilometers of depth, very shallow, points to magma movement. The Incorporated Research Institute for Seismology at 6.0, 8 kilometers of depth. And finally, the Australians came in at 6.1 with 7.8 kilometers of depth. I have never seen so many agencies report a single 6.0, 6.1 earthquake. Period. This particular area is used to large earthquakes. It must be a seismic area or a volcanic area here. You can see all the quakes over the last 130 years. There's been quakes much more sizable, 7.3s, 7.4s in the area. So this is nothing new to the area. Next, we have the 6.4 that hit the Bandera Sea 3 hours ago. Here we have the Indonesian Meteorological and Climatological Geophysical Agency coming in as our main source. A 6.4 depth, 168 kilometers of depth, 3.8 atomic bombs worth of energy released with this bad boy. Now, we saw plenty of active volcanoes that could be awakening just in this area. We probably have magma moving, although this was a deep earthquake. You can see why so few people saw it. It was basically in between all the land masses in the area. This is the shake map here. These are the few reports that came in of folks that felt it. And none of them reported it as very strong, as you can see here, even though it was a lot stronger than the other quake. Alright, we are at Volcano Discovery, as we always move to Volcano Discovery after earthquakesandvolcanoes.com, and there's no default depth disclosure down here. First time I've seen that. We got the Indonesians coming in at 6.4, 168 kilometers of depth. French coming in at 6.19, 140 kilometers of depth. We've got Raspberry Shake coming in at 6.6, 136 kilometers of depth. The Germans coming in at 6.6, 136 kilometers of depth. Wow. We've got Australia coming in at 6.4, 130 kilometers of depth. They've got that depth pretty much nailed down. Next, coming in with a 6.5, 140 kilometers of depth, the Italians. The Europeans, a 6.4, 143 kilometers of depth. USGS, a 6.4, 144 kilometers of depth. And the Incorporated Research Institute for Seismology coming in at a 6.4 as well, 144 kilometers of depth. A fairly impressive earthquake, although it only released 3.9 atomic bombs worth of energy. I say only. Remember, those aren't nuclear bombs. Those are World War II atomic bombs worth of energy. In summary, we have a 6.0 over in Turkey with a substantial swarm around it. Right here, really came in high on the DYFI, the shake map. A lot of people live in that area. And the leader of the day so far is this 6.4. It came in at 143.6 kilometers of depth, with no aftershocks anywhere near it, on a plate tectonic boundary, also near or over a bunch of active volcanoes, whereas the stuff happening in Turkey, well, we can't really define a reason that is occurring. With that said, God bless, folks. Lots of love. Please share our video. It's most important. Please share our video on your Facebook groups that are associated with earthquakes. If you're able to, it'd be much appreciated. Please give us a thumbs up. Please buy us a cup of coffee if you are able to. And always remember that anything's possible in Bizarro World. God bless you all.